Welcome to the Industry Angel Podcast. We hear from the best business minds across the globe. Entrepreneurs, social influencers, marketing mavens, and sales rock stars. We've got them all. Here comes your weekly dose of inspiration with your host, Ian Farah.
Welcome to episode 93 of the Industry Angel. Well, did we cause a bit of controversy last week or what? We opened up the Brexit can of worms and it went off with a bang. So thanks so much for the feedback. It's been great to get the mixed opinions. I've really enjoyed it. So what do we need now? Well, we need someone pro-Brexit. We need the other side of the coin. I'll see what I can do. But if you could suggest somebody, maybe a guest or a pro-Brexiteer, is that the right term? Shoot me a line. Let's see what we can do. My job is to kind of sit on the fence and tease everything out of the guest. So if you didn't like what the guest said, well, that's great. Why not? I think we learned a lot from last week. So there you go. I knew we'd stir something up. Okay, so episode 93 now, getting close to the big 100. So let's hear from today's guest. Today we have founder and managing director of the World Health Heroes. Welcome to the Industry Angel, Owen Morgan.
Hi Ian, thank you so much for having me on today.
Hey, thanks for joining us, Owen, because a mutual friend of ours, Tina Denny, put us in touch as she thought you'd be a fantastic guest for the show, Owen. She mentioned actually you'd probably be the best one ever.
Oh, wow, that's pressure.
I just made that bit up, but
Gonna say,
but
wow.
I'm sure you will be. I'm sure you will be. So listen, Owen, regular listeners will know that I don't ask anything of our guests beforehand. I don't speak with them. I don't ask you to fill a questionnaire in. I want everything to be, organic. This can make life difficult for me because I can't be a master of everything and I get caught out on the hop. But who cares? It makes for good listening. So authentic, unstage, me and you. I want to hear all about the World Health Heroes, but you're going to have to give us a bit of background about yourself. Is that okay, Owen?
Yeah, sure, no problem at all. As we know, story sells, and it's so important to understand the why behind anything, really.
Sure.
And my why, and the reason that I set up the World Health Heroes, is that I've been where the clients we want to help. I've been there. I've been in a place of severe depression and anxiety in which I couldn't leave the house, couldn't interact with new people. My biggest fears in life were meeting new people and being in places that I didn't know. Made it very difficult to hold jobs down and got into a lot of debt. And this was, in my 20s, following on from a childhood I had quite a bit of childhood abuse from childminders when I was much younger, that then affected my school life and lots of bullying in school. So I wasn't in a terribly great place come my 20s. And at the time, I didn't really know any different, really, but complementary health pretty much saved my life, to be honest with you. And having that alternative option to treatment was the thing that pulled me out of it. And I feel I owe that back now to the industry. And I wanted to find a way of building something that would help me 10 years ago, because I got lucky, but not as many people get that lucky, and it can end a lot worse. So it's been tough. It's been a tough life, but I've always maintained that little part of me that wanted to keep going and sort of make a change and connect people and bring groups of people together. I've always had that about me, no matter how bad my mental health was. That was always there, and now it gets to flourish all these years later. So it's there's a background with mental health for me, which is why I'm so passionate about it.
Yeah, that's some why, Owen, and thanks for sharing that. It really does kind of set the scene. And you mentioned complementary health, and I think it's probably wise just to really go back to basics and just really let our listeners and myself, to be honest, understand what complementary health looks like.
Yeah, so essentially the complementary health part of it, the complementary bit of that word, is a complement to traditional medicine and healthcare. So you got your GPs, your doctors, you've got all of sort of that background, stuff that we know, especially in the UK, that we know well. But complementary health is something that can go in addition to that. So it's your massages, it's your personal trainers, it's your hypnotherapists, your NLP practitioners, Reiki, basically anything that is here to help people heal, but sits slightly outside of traditional medicine. So it's such a powerful tool that not many people necessarily know much about, and it's something that I think needs a lot more awareness. And there's only so far you can go with traditional medicine at the moment and healthcare. This is a great alternative and complement to that.
Thanks for that, Owen. And I don't think you would mind if I asked what complementary health you received. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. So the first thing I tried was hypnotherapy. That was the one that really helped me. It's different for everybody. What hypnotherapy allowed me to discover when I was 27 was I was able to go into hypnosis and access my subconscious and be able to discover all of this abuse as a child and my time in school, that I'd blocked a lot of it out. My memory had blocked it out because of the trauma that it had created at a young age. And hypnotherapy allowed me to discover what had happened to me and be able to process it and move on with my life. There's no tablet out there that will allow that to happen. This is something not hands-on necessarily, but allows you to go into your mind and be able to work through stuff from the past. So that was just my story. That is my therapy style. I've tried loads of things since then as well, but hypnotherapy is the one that gave me my life back. So we'll always be passionate about that one.
It's interesting because I think sometimes when you have an issue and you may go and see a GP, I might be speaking out of turn here, but I think sometimes it's a bit of a postcode lottery. My wife's GP is different to my GP, and I can get access to much different care than she can. Do you feel the same? And how did you end up getting the hypnotherapy? Was it something that your GP suggested?
Yeah, well, hypnotherapy, there is some social prescribing happening with GPs, which is great. I mean, 20 years ago, it was totally different. I mean, it's much more accepted complementary health than it ever has been before. And that's a really exciting time for everybody, really. And the NHS are fantastic. And I had an illness 2 years ago, which I haven't mentioned, which nearly killed me. You may want me to go into that briefly, but the NHS saved my life. The doctors, the surgeons and nurses, they saved my life in that moment. But it's very difficult with the budgets and the time that they have to give people that extra bit of, attention and time that someone will need to be able to know what to do. And it's okay. It's just the way it's ended up. There's just not enough time to work with somebody one-to-one and really help them through that. And that's what complementary health allows, you see, and that's why it's so powerful. It allows more space and time to be supported. But there's definitely a massive place for the NHS and the GPs and stuff, and they're fantastic what they do with the tools they have and the time they have. It's just brilliant, but there has to be more than that, and I'm hoping that's what we're building will get us there.
That's interesting. Yeah, you're right. I think something's got to give. We're seeing cuts right across our country in various different public sector initiatives. But yeah, it's good that these things are stepping in, maybe filling a bit holes. And I think our country, it kind of runs, for instance, if our voluntary sector wasn't there, we'd just ground to a halt,
Yeah, definitely. You're right. And I realized I didn't actually answer your question, which was how I access hypnotherapy was when I see GPs, obviously it would be antidepressants would be the way to go at that time. But there was a part of me that just didn't want to, go down the medication route. So I looked out for options for hypnotherapy privately. Now, this is where the heroes thing really, really kicks in. But it's very expensive generally for someone on minimum wage. So it was £60 a session, which for what you get is fantastic. And it's definitely worth that. But for people on low income or out of work for illness, it's not an option. It's that simple. It's just not an option to be able to access and be able to pay for that. I suffered for years because I had no money, basically. And if I did, I would have been able to reach out and be helped a lot sooner. But it allowed me to reach out to my family, my extended family, was able to get some money together and was able to have a block of 10 sessions. And that basically changed my life forever. But the problem with that whole story is that money should not be a barrier to someone's wellness. But it's a private industry. So, of course, you've got to pay for it. So it's trying to find an answer to that problem, because there's people in the middle here, the ones who don't have high income and not getting what they need from traditional medical care. Those people in the middle are getting a little bit forgotten, maybe, and a little bit isolated in their options.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And it's such a worry and a concern that it just kind of compounds itself. That isolation can just build and build and build. So I guess this is your why then. What is the answer then, Owen?
Yes, it's been an interesting couple of years. It'll be 2 years in July. It's been one hell of a journey for me, both beautifully and just so stressful and so tough to make this work. So what I'm trying to build here is pretty massive. You know, we're looking at it's global, hence the word part of it. We're just UK at the moment, but we want to build a global healthcare system to allow people to have access at a reduced rate, but not to the detriment of the therapist, because the therapists still need to live and they still need to have a good life as well. So how can you help both therapists and people without much money to be supported? So on that global level, we're trying to build something that can be financed to help fund these clients to be helped through this. So no one has to be, isolated anymore and struggling. And we've met quite a few clients through this journey who essentially have given up on anything to help them, and they were just going to live the rest of their life in pain or, unable to work. And it's just so sad. And there's so much out there that can help them. They just don't realize it yet and don't know that they can have it. And that's what we're trying to build here for them.
Surely that I didn't actually like hearing that you've said that, because it just should not be an option, should it? Having to live it like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And we may talk about other bits, but especially ME and fibromyalgia, which is the percentages of how many people are having that, it just keeps going up and up and up. And it's very hard to treat it through traditional means, just for numerous reasons. I think we're going to be helping a lot along those lines, but a lot of those people have given up and have just accepted they've got ME for life. And, more often than not, that's not true. You just need the right support from the right people. And we've already helped people. We've already helped people recover from ME already. So it's really, really exciting. It's early days, but I can't accept people just accepting that the condition is who they are. They are the symptom. That's part of their being. And that's not a way to live.
I totally agree, and I can't accept you, and I just love what you do. And then so let's fill in the details around it. So basically, what we're saying is we're looking for a win-win. We're looking for the therapist to get paid to do their gift. We're looking for, is it a patient one? Is that the term?
Patient, client, however we want to see
client.
it.
Yeah. So a patient, client, whatever, to then receive, some treatment, which is life-changing, which could really change their isolation or their issues. What are you doing about it then? So what are you putting around this then, and what's the answer?
Well, essentially, we want to be a platform that people can reach out to. So, for example, we launched the clinic service, which is, we got the World Health Heroes is a limited company. And then the clinic service is just the side of that. And this is the part that's wanting to reach out to these people. So we're currently helping 6 clients this month at the moment through their journey. And they reached out to us on the website, filled out an application form that came through to us. We then processed their form. We booked them in with one of our advisors, find out a little bit more about their story. Now, the most important part of all this is to understand the story of the client, not the symptom. Is trying to understand what their life has been like up to this point, what their outcome would be at the end of this. We want to get to know the person behind the symptom. I don't want to just treat what has been created by life. Let's find out how we can improve their life to help that symptom. So we have a really lush.
What you said there is that you've got 6 clients this month and you're helping them. How are you helping them? Is this help financially? And if so, where's the money coming from to pay the expert in this field?
Yeah. So yes, as I was saying, they have the interview with us, and then once we understand their needs, I then reach out to my Health Hero members. So I have 105 Health Heroes across the country. I reach out to people that we may feel suitable for this condition, and I reach out to the hero and say, we have a client for you. This is all they can afford. So maybe it's £10 a session, £15 a session, whatever the client can afford. We think it's really important that the client offers something. It's very important to have that energy exchange. So they offer what they can, and then we look to the clinic services funding pot to top up the per session price to make sure the hero gets what they need. So we just reach out to the hero and ask them how much they will need for this particular client and situation. So my job for the World Health Heroes is to find all numerous ways to raise funding and create cash flow that can allow these funds to keep growing and help even more people. So it's very much a we're not a charity, but there's a lot of fundraising going on. So we can use that money to pay our members to help these people. But it's a very much give and take with me and the client. So however much they can afford and however much we can put in, we just want to make sure the therapist is able to grow a business at the same time of doing this wonderful work.
So Owen, what you mentioned there is that you're the guy who kind of funds this. So what channels do you get those funds from?
Yeah, so currently we are. It's changed over the last 2 years, but there's numerous sources. So we have a crowdfund is one of our main sources, and it sits alongside our Power of the Pound campaign. So there's a hashtag for that, Power of the Pound, and that's to try and get as many people across the UK, across the world, to donate £1 to this to help transform lives. And it's gone really well in the first month. We raised £350 in the first month. We've been able to use some of that to help people. But it's early days, and we just keep growing this crowd fund. And if we all come together as a community and as a world, we'll be able to sort of pay it forward, really. Just putting in small denominations. So the crowdfund is one of the big ones. We also have things like easy fundraising where people can shop online with major retailers, and then a percentage of when you buy a percentage of what you buy, say Amazon or whichever company it is, donate to the clinic service. It's amazing. So you don't have to physically donate. The company will donate on your behalf. It's quite a new thing, this kind of stuff, but it's a fantastic way for people to donate without donating, if that makes sense, via shopping online. So that's another one. We have patrons as well. So people can pay so much a month to be a patron of ours, and they get a series of rewards for that. So there's numerous ways we can look at this that ties in quite nicely with the events that we run. So we do wellbeing days and what we call hero nights, which is an evening of wellness where we sell tickets for well-being evenings and experiences, and then we use the profit made from all of these events also for the fun. So I just find in many ways as I can to encourage sort of cash flow to come in whilst also giving something back in return.
So those hero nights, Owen, would you partner up with anybody across the country? Because at the end of the day, you're only one man if you're going to be there and organize it. Could you partner up with other regions and say, like, can you put a hero night over in your region, and this is how it looks, and this is what we cover on that particular night? You go and find clients and suppliers to kind of put that night on.
Yeah, definitely. That's exactly how it works. So I have hero teams all over the UK, and I'll just use Newcastle as an example because that's where you are.
Well, could you not use Sunderland instead?
Oh, okay, maybe Sunderland. I have
no, go. You're allowed to go Newcastle. It's fine. Yeah. Football.
Let's go Northumberland. Maybe let's play it safe. But yes. Basically, I have heroes in Sunderland, Newcastle, and Northumberland. So let's just say Northeast, shall we?
Yes.
So we have over 10 heroes in the Northeast at the moment, and some more filling out their forms. Tina Denny, one of them that linked me up with you. And we have Barbara and Lindsay there who help kind of get things going there. So they're going to run hero nights for me and help me run events. I go up there every sort of 12 weeks to catch up with them all. But I have people kind of up in these areas not working for me, but working alongside me to help raise awareness and create funding for their own local pot of money. Looking for sponsorship, people to sponsor our events in the local area. So we're just tapping into all our resources and connections to get people that really believe in this to want to help on a financial level and with time as well. Donating time to us at the same time is very valuable.
I was going to say, thinking about some other routes for revenue, are there any larger organizations that you could partner up with? I'm just thinking something like, I don't know, even influencers who might have received complementary health in their lives. Do you get any sort of people pushing money towards you for that?
That's exactly what we are doing this year, and we'll be pushing this year is the crowdfund will keep growing anyway, and who knows, you may have people with a little bit more wealth that will be able to put in a lot more. But we are thinking of putting things on like big galas where we can invite people of higher standing along to these galas, and looking for checks and putting on this wonderful evening of inspiring talks for that kind of thing. Reaching out to companies for sponsorship who believe in this and want to be doing their give back to the community. And that's where the real money will lie. There's millions of pounds out there right now sat there that could really help. So we just need to tap into that and keep promoting the story behind all of this and why it means so much to so many. So celebrities will pick up on this. We'll be able to reach out to sports stars who may have suffered with depression, footballers that are coming out so much more now talking about depression. Yeah. and tapping into those resources as well, and having advocates, faces that push this forward. It's so exciting that this is all stuff that will happen. It's just, one day at a time. But, that's the key. And that's why we need to keep growing. We need to keep growing this and having no ceiling, because the bigger we are, the more it will attract, the more attention the brand will get. So the reason to go global with this as soon as we can is to attract that energy around our brand, because this is still a business at the end of the day, and can only work if there's money coming in. So I've had to learn a lot about business whilst doing this. As much as I'm all heart and give back, I had to understand the importance of business.
You took the words out of my mouth, actually, because that's what I was just about to say, that now you need to run this as a business. Is that something that comes natural to you? Or have you run businesses in the past, or are you learning on the hoof?
Well, it's funny because 6 years ago, I became a personal trainer and a massage therapist. So obviously through complementary health helping me, I then fell in love with it a little bit, and I sort of discovered what I would want to do. So I've absolutely loved doing that for 6 years. It's been amazing, and lets me understand the mindset of a practitioner, how hard it can be to make a business work like that. It's tough to get those clients through the door. So that gave me a bit of background into what it takes and the patience you need. But running what essentially will be a global company was a little bit daunting to start with. But I'm so unbelievably passionate about this that I was never going to give up. And I'm not going to lie, there was occasions where it nearly bankrupted me at the beginning because I had to put so much money in. But I knew you have to sacrifice at the start if you want it to get anywhere. So I've had to learn a lot on the go about business, but I have some immense coaches around me that help me, and I have amazing sessions with them, and they're just brilliant. They're able to tap into me, and make me see it from a business perspective. I couldn't do it without them. They're amazing.
Sure. What about any sort of voluntary members, like board members or mentors?
Yeah, well, luckily for me, we call them superheroes, and they're the ones that donate time to us. They do a couple of hours a week for me. So in the first year and a half, it was all about people volunteering time. And it still is, to be honest with you. I don't have any staff on the books or anything like that. I have freelancers that do a bit of admin for me and do a bit of social media support. And I love it that way. They dip in and out, and it doesn't have a big impact on their other work, which is good. But these people that help me, like my committee, I have a committee of 6 that sit on the board with me to help make the big decisions about the clinic. And they volunteer their time, and they're amazing human beings, all from different walks of life. And they're just as passionate as I am, and they'll do anything for this because they believe. And I hope in time the money will be there to make it financially rewarding. But they're not in it for that. They're in it because they care about this. So I've been very blessed to be surrounded by like-minded people, to be honest with you.
It sounds like you have as well. So where's that based on?
I'm based in Bath, so just outside Bath, near Bristol. And that's where it all began, Bath and Bristol, and it's grown from there. But I've been very fond of the northern tours I've been doing. I've loved coming up and driving around and meeting the members and filming. It's been it's been really wonderful to meet other cultures and other amazing people with amazing accents like yourself.
I have to try and tone it down because we've got a lot of listeners in the States.
Yeah.
So, that kind of altruistic approach is really, I see a lot of that now, and it's great that people are actually giving back and looking to give back. I even see on LinkedIn, people looking to join pro bono boards for roles. It's amazing. So thinking about the 6, and would you see that this becoming a more kind of full-time role for people? Is this what you're looking to do, is bring people into the business and create a team in time?
Definitely, I'd love to do that. I mean, just purely for my own well-being and making sure I can start to shift some of the roles in and around this, because there's still a big chunk of it's still me. So obviously I had to make sure that I was getting to a point where I was getting a wage from it. So it's that was a tough one. I only started getting paid 2 months ago. So, it took a little while, and it's still not where we need it to be. But the people that have come in and helped me, that they're the people I want to create that role for them, and that will come later down the line. And that will be a gift for me to be able to do that for them. So Amy does a lot of my PR. I really want to take her on full time because the PR behind this is massive. Yeah. But when the time is right, I'll bring Amy in properly, and I'll have the kind of level of support that can really allow me to create some space in my life to be able to travel across the world. If we're going to set up in America, I want to go over there. I want to meet members. It matters to me that I meet the members. And if I'm out doing talks and podcasts like this, then I need to be off doing that. So I will need to bring in a team to do what I was doing originally. But I always say it's really important that I experienced all of those roles. I've done all of the roles in this business. And when I hand it over, I'll know if it's not working quite right. I'll know why, because I've done it and I understand how it needs to flow. So actually, it's probably one of the best things was that I had to do everything to begin with, so I can understand every section of what we're doing.
That's a great takeaway for listeners. I really agree with that. And I've done exactly the same as you. And it's interesting. I've got a few clients and one of them really springs to mind. And he says he wouldn't ask anybody in the business to do something that he hasn't done before or wouldn't do.
Yeah.
And, he has a team of 30, 40 people. And I love that. He's done absolutely everything in that business.
Yeah, one of my friends who is much higher up in business, bless him, and he's helped me a lot, a bit of a kind of mentor, I guess. He says, you build something, you make sure it's fine-tuned, you sack yourself, and then you move on to the next component of your business. Yeah. So create, build, sack, move on. And I think I've slowly started doing that. Yeah. But I absolutely love every element of the business. It's quite hard to let it go sometimes because I just really enjoy it. But what I'm meant to be doing with this and the energy I need to bring to it needs to be focused where it's going to be most impactful. I don't want to be wasting too much time away from my strongest traits or what I bring to it. Because you can master all kinds of different things, but some things are just natural, and they're the things to harness really in yourself.
You can do, and what you need to be mindful of though, Owen, is burnout, because you're obviously extremely passionate about this. You want it to work, you want to make a difference, but sometimes if you go and that fast, you can't see it coming, but then whap, it hits you, and you're like, wow, I kind of need to ease off a little bit here. I've stretched myself a bit too far mentally and physically.
It would definitely. I need to be an example of what being well means. I need to be running that example, and that's something to be aware of. I meditate 3 times a day, 20 minutes every time, and I get up very early and exercise every morning. So it's just really important that I maintain that and actually nourish me. If I don't nourish my body, it's going to be very difficult to help people nourish their own. So it's actually going to help me stay really healthy. That's a bit of a bonus, really. This company, it's kind of forcing me to make sure that I always stay on top of that. So
what a brilliant side effect.
Yeah. So it's if anybody's listening wants to take away something from this, is to understand that you can't pour from an empty cup. So you just always got to make sure you're topping up your own cup. Otherwise, it's going to be hard to give if you're not receiving anything in return.
Brilliant stuff. Yeah. What I'm interested in, Owen, we've mentioned a few times over this last 20 minutes or so about, stories sell, and, it is, people love stories, we're humans. So have you got any stories that you could share about your clients so we can really understand the impact of what World Health Heroes are doing?
Sure, yeah, definitely. There's a completely obvious one for that. And if people head over our YouTube channel, you'll be able to watch it. But we filmed a documentary with our first ever clinic client last year, Corrine, who had ME. We're going to use had ME as the key thing here. And she came to us in need, and she was in a bad place and kind of given up hope. And we filmed her journey, so it's worth a watch. And we teamed her up with Lisa Jones, one of our heroes in Bristol. She's amazing and had ME herself, and she's an NLP practitioner and psychotherapist. And we basically took, I think it was about 12 weeks in the end, but Lisa worked with her and we followed her on a journey of having to use a mobility scooter to get around the park and walk her dog with her daughter. Her daughter was cooking all the meals, she kind of lost her role as a mum. The child ended up being the mother in the scenario. Yeah. And within 12 weeks, she climbed a mountain in Wales. And she's going off doing loads of big walking exhibitions. And it was the most emotional experience of my life to have watched that documentary back. And we had a big annual Christmas conference and we showed it live to an audience for the first time. And it was so emotional to think what I built had led to Corrine getting her life back. And she's now become a partner. She works with people with dyslexia, and she's now a partner in my company. She's one of my members. I mean, that's such an amazing ending to that story, that she is now part of the family. But that's just one example of the thousands and thousands of people that we're going to be able to go through that same journey, hopefully.
Yeah, that is an amazing example. I didn't want to actually break your conversation at all there. I was loving that, and it is a great story. Yeah. I can imagine how that's made you feel, sort of seeing that. I guess you're going to leave a legacy here, Owen, at the end of the day.
Well, yeah, I just want to. There's a really cool inspirational video I watched talking about opinions don't change the world, ideas do, and the idea that you bring to the world will outlive you. So once you're gone, that idea is still there. It's not about opinion, it's about the ideas you can bring to the table. So I'm trying to see it that way. And before my life-threatening illness a couple of years ago, I came out of that hospital all guns blazing, saying that I want to do more with my life than I had done before. And that illness was kind of what spurred me on to do this. I've never been so motivated in my life, but I wasn't before that. But that illness made me realize that I had a lot more to give. And I want to keep using that story in years to come as a way to promote this company, because the person behind all of this, and especially my committee, have the same stories. That all of our stories combined is what makes us such hopefully a dominant force in the world, hopefully. So yeah, I'm rambling a bit now, but it's
no, you're not rambling at all. And actually, you've alluded to this a couple of times now about this kind of life threatening. So if you wouldn't mind, would you share that with us?
Yeah, no, sure. I use this story a lot at the beginning to make people understand this. And for some reason, it's dropped off and I don't mention it as much. So I realized I need to get back on the story train because it was such a big part of it. Sure. But I had an illness called intussusception. It's quite hard to say. Intussusception. Yeah, that's it. And it normally happens with infants. So it's where part of your intestine gets dragged into another part of your intestine. So it's not a tangled bowel. It's a drag through. It's a periscope. And because it's quite rare for a 32-year-old man to have it, went into hospital in severe pain, like I was being stabbed in the stomach every 30 seconds. And they did loads of scans, couldn't find it on x-ray, which you wouldn't. They should have CT scanned me, would have been the best option really at the time. But because they didn't know what it was, I took painkillers and went home. And then I spent the 6 days after that was pretty much the worst 6 days of my life. I was just in pain the entire time, couldn't eat food, struggling with water, and I lost 2 stone in 6 days. Wow. Where my body started to cannibalize itself to stay alive, which I think is pretty awesome, that the body is so determined to stay alive, it ate me to do it, which kind of proved that theory. But what that 6 days taught me, hence the hero name, so I'm glad you asked me this actually, is that it made me realize the power within all of us to overcome anything and be able to do more. And it kind of completely shifted my mindset to go, no, wow, I'm a hero of my own story here. I helped myself. No one helped me then. There was no one there to help me get through that. So in a world where we live externally and look for external validation, when it comes down to it, if you've got an illness like that, it's just you and you, and you've got to find a way through it. And I just discovered some of my inner power really, and to do more. And I went back into hospital after the 6 days, and I always remember the doctors saying to me, how are you still walking? Somehow I walked into the hospital. How are you still walking? How are you alive? Normally within 5 days you should die because you've had no nourishment. You've taken on no water pretty much. And I always remember them saying that. It just blew my mind then and now to keep saying that. It's like there was no right for me to survive that. And for some reason I did. And then I just discovered my inner hero. And then sort of within a week or two coming out of hospital, I was trying to think of a way I could use this story and what I've done to build something. Didn't know it was going to be the heroes, but I just realized how amazing traditional healthcare was in that moment. They saved my life, but the aftercare wasn't there. The aftercare wasn't great afterwards, and I understand why. And I thought we need better aftercare, and that's another part of what the heroes is going to do, is to provide somewhere for people to go after big surgeries and stuff for mental health and that kind of thing. So it is a massive part of why I built this, but my childhood and all my mental health stuff plays a part in there as well. But I wouldn't change anything for the world. It was horrific, but it was mind-blowing stuff to realize that you can overcome anything if you just believe enough and you have good people around you, which I did. Really, really good, amazing people supporting me afterwards through that. And I had a second chance. So like you said, I want to leave something behind me this time, because that could happen again tomorrow and I could die tomorrow. But if I could leave the heroes behind me, my committee team can look after it when I'm gone. So it can still survive. But yeah.
Well, thanks so much. That really does kind of put that in, perspective, because that is some journey you've been through, man. So well done, and I love that, because like you say, you've got no regrets, because it's made you who you are, and it's made this whole project alive. So it's early stages, Owen. What we need to do is we need to leave this a year, and we need to come back and see how things are going for you.
Yeah, well, every year is a little bit crazy at the moment. I don't know where we're going to be next year, but I have no ceiling. Yeah. I'm not going to put a ceiling on, or I'm just going to go with it, because it kind of grows itself a lot of the time, to be honest with you. And that's because of its energy, and the people we brought in has allowed it to grow itself. So it's working smart, it's working clever, not working hard. That's what I'm trying to learn at the moment.
I think that's a great way to look at it, because if you brought in a business mentor maybe, or a non-exec, what they might do is shape this project into something that you don't want it to be shaped as. And if it's grown organically and it's grown with passion, I totally agree that that's the way to take it.
Definitely.
Excellent. But listen, thanks so much, Owen, for joining us. And what we'll do is we'll shout from the rooftops as much as we can. Let's hear where we can find you. Let's hear that hashtag again. Anything else you want to leave our audience with, go for it.
Brilliant. Thanks very much. The biggest part of everything we're doing now is about this crowdfund. It's the hugest part. So the hashtag is Power of the Pound. Which is just all about trying to get people to part with a pound to transform lives. So type the hashtag in on Google, Twitter. You'll be able to see some of the videos. We do loads of 60-second videos talking about the work we're doing, client testimonies. So that's the hashtag to use. We do have hashtag World Health Heroes as well. That's an option for you. We're on every social media platform. I think apart from Snapchat, we're not on there yet. But that's all. I don't know how Snapchat is going to work for this, but we should have a look. But
don't try and be everywhere, mate.
Yeah, and we're not on Pinterest either, actually, thinking about it. But just type in World Health Heroes on any social media platform. We'll come up. There's not many names similar to ours, so we'll be on there. And just visit our website, www.worldhealthheroes.com. We plan to go to America, Canada, and Australia probably as early as July at this point. So check out for everywhere we're going. But we're really, really keen to get as many therapists as we can who believe in what we're doing to join this. So we are looking for health heroes all over the UK to join the hero family, because I need people to send people to. I don't have therapists. Who can I send them to? So any therapists listening right now, we'd love to chat to you about what we're doing and bring you on board and bring you into the hero family. So just check us out online. And our YouTube channel has got loads of wellbeing shows, chat shows, where we talk to heroes about their work and hear amazing stories. So come over to YouTube and you'll be able to watch all of our interviews that I conduct. I'm now a chat show host of my own show, which is a bit random.
Hey, check you out.
So I've become a bit of a Graham Norton now, which is quite fun. So come and check me out. You'll be able to see me in person as well. It's never a bad thing, I guess. So I'm going to stop talking now, but the YouTube stuff, I'm very proud of it. And it's such amazing content to help people help themselves, give them tools to help themselves without having to reach out in the first place. So it's well worth a look.
Brilliant stuff. Well, listen, Owen, thanks so much. Thanks to all your volunteers, your therapists, everything, because you're making a change. You've brought something wonderful to the world, and I'm really intrigued on how it's going to go for you. So thanks so much, Owen.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Tina, for introducing me to Ian.
Wow, how amazing is Owen in this project? I love it. This is what it's all about for me. Owen experienced a life-changing time in his life, and he took strength from that, began a new journey. I'm sure many of you listening have done the same. You know, my next passion project is also born out of experience. It's something I want to do. And it's funny, I was talking to a friend about this yesterday, about how life experiences can shape and impact your future. Maybe the battle scars and the grey hairs are to be capitalised on. And I guess that's why mentorship, which we've spoken about many times on this show, is such a valuable thing, because a lot of people have been through these experiences and processes, and they help shape our lives. So I encourage you now to check out the hashtag Power of the Pound. Donating to the cause could really help someone today that could need a bit of help, bit of assistance at this time in their lives. It was interesting, Owen said he just started to pay himself. So at this stage, guys, this project really needs our help. So let's see what we can do. So until next time, I'm Ian Farrer. This is the Industry Angel, and thanks for listening.